Hey, what's up, everybody? It's just Charles Sabansi. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Show. We cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, when we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got a hell of a show. But before we even get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you want to follow me on Instagram, my name is Charles Sabansi. My handle is CTABANZ. If you want to follow the channel, Dreamers Pro, same name as the channel on Instagram. And also, if you want today's full show before it comes out on YouTube, it is streaming for free on the Dreamers Pro podcast. Anyway, let me get into this topic here. As you guys know, this Katt Williams thing is the biggest thing in media now. It is gone beyond comedy and all that. It's the number one trending topic in entertainment right now on the internet. Everywhere you go, someone is talking about it. And if for those of you who have been on the channel, you will know that towards the end of last year, I said that we want to be experimenting, talking about different things. We just don't want to be a sports channel. We want to stretch our legs and see if we can reach a wider audience. Hence is one of the reasons that we're producing this show, number one. Number two, this is something that I know about. I follow comedy. I know who all these people are. I've watched their movies. I've watched their stand-ups. I'm sure a lot of you guys have. And I think that's the reason why so many people are gravitating towards this particular story, because most of you guys know fully well all of the people involved in it. As you guys know, Katt Williams went on Shannon Sharpe's Club Shay Shay and totally ripped the internet into pieces. His first show, meaning the full clip, the full interview, as we currently speak, is sitting at 37 million views. I believe by the end of the week, that interview will be sitting at 40 million views, which is unheard of. It's absolutely unheard of and it's unprecedented, making it the second most viewed interview in the history of YouTube, only behind Joe Rogan, who has the number one most viewed interview in the history of the internet. So it's a very big deal. If we look at the aggregate views in terms of the interview, including the clips and all of that, I think it's somewhere around 70 million views, probably. And we're not even talking about streams and all of that. It's absolutely unheard of. Unheard of. Shannon Sharpe is definitely dominating the media space in terms of the independent space. And I don't even think it's up for discussion. Now, if you saw Katt Williams' conversation with Shannon Sharpe, you will know that he went at a lot of comedians. And he was calling them out by name, which I personally believe made his comments much more poignant. He wasn't going around the corner, dancing around the bushes. He was calling people name by name. And who was one of the people he went after? Steve Harvey. Now, any of you who follow culture, you know who Steve Harvey is. He's been in comedy for decades now. You've seen him on television. You saw him on the Kings of Comedy. You see him hosting various game shows. You see him in movies. You've seen Steve Harvey everywhere. It's mega successful, worth, I believe, at least $150 million. A very, 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 very big deal. But while Katt Williams was talking, one of the people he took aim at was Steve Harvey, by basically saying, you know, Steve Harvey tried to replicate his career. His story, his come up story is essentially his story, and he tried to hijack his story and turn it into his. And a lot of us out here were waiting for all of these people that Katt Williams called out, for them to start to respond to him. One of the people that he called out, Kevin Hart, he made a response. A lot of people didn't think it was funny, but various people have responded in various ways. But now we're hearing Steve Harvey himself address the comments that Katt Williams made on on Club Shay Shay. So what we want to do is want to quickly play what Steve Harvey had to say. It's about a 20-second clip, and then we're going to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to what Steve Harvey had to say here.
Hold up, Tommy. So you a comedian, you a radio host.
Yes.
And now you got a game show? I'm finna go on Shannon Sharpe's show and accuse you of stealing my whole damn career. I thought you were supposed to go on there and enlighten people.
So you heard what Steve Harvey had to say. Then on top of that, if you go to his Twitter, he put up a post, and then it's a video of him speaking on one of his shows, and the quote that he wrote, or what he wrote was, "You don't have to address your haters." You can take a look at it right here. But it didn't just stop there. Katt Williams, in the midst of his barrage of comments that he was making on Club Shay Shay, he also called out a pretty big name in media, and that person was Joe Rogan. And Joe Rogan pretty much just caught a stray along the way as he was passing by. He was like, take this and have that, carry that with you. To quote the great Richard Pryor, he was like, take this with you and then go with it. He actually went at Joe Rogan, and we actually want to read from a Sports Illustrated article from SI.com some of the comments that Katt Williams made about him. And I also want to read the response that Joe Rogan put out there. So the article essentially says, Joe Rogan is trying to diffuse any potential beef with fellow comedian Katt Williams. Katt certainly grabbed mainstream attention with his appearance on Club Shay Shay with Pro Football Hall of Famer Shannon Sharpe. Williams stirred the pot by spilling the tea on a slew of famous comedians such as Steve Harvey, celebrity entertainer. Rogan was caught in the crossfire when Katt told Sharpe that the UFC commentator won't allow him on the Joe Rogan Experience. He then said, if you were a comedian that cussed, you were ridiculed by the mainstream comedy gist, Williams said, that would have been like me being on Joe Rogan. Joe don't want me on there. I need to be on Shannon. Joe got 6 comedians that have never been funny he want to push out, but that's really how it is. Well, apparently, Joe Rogan caught a whiff of what he had to say, and he put out a public comment on Twitter, and he said the following: I love Katt. He's one of my favorite comics, and I'd love to have him on. We talk about him all the time. If he's down, I'll make it happen. So that's what Joe Rogan had to say. Let me start with Joe Rogan and then work my way to Steve Harvey. If Katt Williams were to go on Joe Rogan's show, I think we could witness something similar to what we just witnessed right now. Obviously, Shannon Sharpe has a different flavor. He has a different thing. But the fact of the matter is Joe Rogan is the #1 podcaster in the world. His shows generate about 11 million downloads. I didn't say views. Folks, I didn't say views. I said downloads per show. And if you're into the podcast game, you know what an astronomical number that is for downloads to get 11 million downloads. So I think that if he went on the Joe Rogan show, it would be another scenario like this where he broke the internet. I think it would be no holds bar, and it would be something like we just witnessed right now. And it may actually end up being the biggest interview on the Joe Rogan Experience ever. The reason I'm saying that is because of the momentum that this particular interview has, right? So if he went there, I think it would do huge numbers. And I think it's a great thing that Joe Rogan invited him on the show to have the conversation. That's number one. Number two, it speaks to the impact of Shannon Sharpe's. I mean, we are witnessing a moment right now in media and entertainment. And Shannon Sharpe and these guys are showing you where this thing can go when you really build something that's fantastic. Now let's get to the Steve Harvey aspect. Steve Harvey was basically poking fun. I think Steve Harvey is sitting back from the standpoint of this. He's like, listen, I made all my money. I'm not going to lose my shows because you made this comment. I'm still going to have a good time. I'm still going to be rich. I'm still going to go on about my life. And I think he's taking it in stride, right? If Steve Harvey tried to go back at Katt Williams, so to speak, I think it would kind of backfire on him. And I think the reason it would backfire on him is because of this. Katt Williams right now has all the momentum. So if you're going to go back at him, you're going to be going against the current, right? Because a lot of people are pro Katt Williams right now, and justifiably so, because he went up there, he didn't twerk it up, he kept it real, and he said exactly what he thought. And to me, I think it serves as an example of what media should be. Too often we got people going up on these shows, twerking it up all over the place, knocking over drinks, afraid to say what they really think, thinking about different interests, thinking about this person's relationship, that person's relationship. And Katt Williams is like, the hell with all of that. I'm just going to say what I think and let the chips fall where they may. And you're beginning to see, the impact of something like that. To me, I think that is excellent. I'm glad to be a part of this conversation in terms of lending my opinion. So what I want to know from you guys is simply this. Number one, what do you think about Joe Rogan's response? Number two, do you think Katt Williams will accept the invitation and go on Joe Rogan's podcast? And number three, what are your thoughts about what Steve Harvey had to say? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. We catch you guys on the next show. Peace.